It's another edition of Derailed, episode 10. That means we've hit double digits. That means Harry Mays is locked in for another 10. That was the contract.
Is that right?
It was a 10-day contract that's now renewed.
Okay.
But before you and I can get into our normal witty banter, we have to introduce our special guest of the show.
That's right.
That, of course, from now 94 WIP, used to be with us at another place, Jon Marks.
Special's the key word for me, too.
Yes.
What's up, everybody?
No, this is great, man.
It's good to have you, man.
Coming in here.
I always wanted to meet Harry sectional and see his basement.
Yeah.
You know, we're not sectional, but,
yeah.
you know.
John has this look on his face like he has no idea what's going on. Trust me, we're all going to talk about is the Eagles. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, we're not going to put you in a bad spot. We had Jason in here a couple weeks ago, and we gave him the same courtesy. We're not going to put you in a bad spot.
I'm not worried about I'm not worried about
not in that avenue, but just in general. Like, we're not going to break the poly out and ask you about some crazy questions or anything like that. Like, this is going to be straightforward stuff.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, mostly.
I can pretty much roll with anything. I mean,
you can, which is why you're here.
I can roll with you. You want to talk politics? You want to talk Eagles? Whatever. Right?
No, but it's interesting he brings that up because there are a few people that can deal with him. And you're one of them, I'm one of them. Yes, and Jason was one of them.
Well, there's a theme of who actually come over.
There's three people.
There's a reason why John's
in
here.
the whole history of radio that can deal with you.
Right.
And they've all been in this house, and now have all been on the podcast.
Well, we're gracious.
But I think we all have the same philosophy. Is if I never have to worry about who I'm working with, that he's never going to run out of things to say.
Right.
He's never going to run out of things to talk about.
That is one of the great things about it. There's many, but that's one of them because he never runs out of something to say. He's got 4 more shows today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I've got a tight schedule.
He breathes out of his eyes.
Wrap this thing up.
He's able to do that. He's not amphibian, but something like that. Yeah. So I never have to worry about it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I can relate in the sense of there aren't many people who sleep like 2 hours a day, and this was before you had offspring, of course. But I don't think you ever slept, right? Was there ever a part of your life where you got good, consistent sleep? Because it didn't happen when you were doing mornings. And now that you've added people into your life,
it's worse now than
exactly
ever.
right.
It's worse now than
it's
ever.
worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my sleeping pattern is actually worse now that I'm off that consistent morning schedule. I don't even have kids, so I can imagine how much worse it is for you.
It's just early. You know,
well, you just can't do anything. You can't sleep.
If you wanna, if you're gonna watch games, which means you're not going to bed till 11 o'clock, and they're up 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning. Like 4:30 was the alarm clock this morning. One of them was screaming, and then I finally get her back to sleep, and then the other one's screaming at 5 after 5, which means now everybody's up.
Right, 4:30 for a show that starts at 2. Right, you know.
Well, but to be fair, you were there at the station really early when we used to work together. I'm sure you get there now at IP early. Like, you've always been get there early.
Over-prepared.
Exactly.
Well, I used to, so when...
You'd be there like 1 a.m.
No. When Gianna was born, I would sleep, I'd try to sleep from 10 to 2:30. I would feed her and then be at the station no later than like... 3:30.
Wow.
Something like that.
AM.
Yeah, AM.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
For a show
but for people that
6.
may not remember, this is a little bit ago. It's like 5 years ago, right?
No, it's like not close to that. 3
years.
Three
Is
and a
it
half.
that long ago?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, you just said 5, and now you're saying 3 is that long
I've
ago.
been at WIP.
I thought I said 2.
I've been at WIP almost 2 years. So, yeah, I mean, I worked with Anthony in the morning for 18 months, and then there was like 4 months in between going there. So. Yeah, like 3. Okay. Well, Gianna's 3 years old, so she just turned 3 years old. So
if you need to take a call, you can just take it live on the air too.
Really?
The speaker.
Well, it's
your
either
mic will.
It's either a spam call or.
Those are great. You were telling us about these spam calls that don't stop,
If it's
right?
the Chinese Viagra caller, which it's tough to because they use so many different.
You're gonna have to rewind a second. You unpacked a big box rather fast. The Chinese Viagra people?
So there was, if you remember, you'll still hear these commercials from time to time. You'll hear like, don't play pharmacy prices for Viagra.
Right.
Pay $2 a pill. Call this number. Well, if you call that number, they'll send you generic.
So you called.
Yeah, they'll send you generic.
Do you not
Viagra.
have enough kids? Like, what's going on? Are you looking to bring in more? You had to
No, I'm not looking to bring in
You're
more.
doing porn on the side?
Something is happening that you need this Viagra.
Looking for an extra little kick.
Up.
Yeah.
But if you do order, which I did,
right.
They don't leave you alone. So even if you ordered a bunch 3 months after, they won't stop calling you.
Right.
To where they call from, you know how these spam numbers work. They just call from a different bogus number all the time.
And
so
it looks like a number that is similar to yours sometimes. So you're like, oh, I better take this.
That was unknown, so I don't know who
I don't
that
answer anything unless there's a name attached.
All right, so how about this?
Me either.
If my phone rings again, which it's bound to, I'll answer live on the air.
Speaker.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'll speak it, sure.
So I used to work down in Atlantic City. Remember our guy that all three of us worked with, Schwartzman?
Yeah.
Dan.
Dan. So this was the station that I'm at now, 97.3, but AM. So you couldn't hear anything. They didn't even have a call screen system. This has got to be 15 years ago. So it was just this phone bank, which was 2 lines, and they would light up, and you would just push a button, and the caller would be live on the air.
So there's no screener.
No screener, nothing, right?
That's
so
awesome.
we had this guy, a couple of guys, right? Because you know Dan, or if you've ever listened to Dan Schwartzman, like any one of us can be, opinionated and rub some people the wrong way. And his big thing was, all right, I'm going to talk about college football, Alabama, like Kale. I'm going to talk about Alabama no matter, because he just spent like 2 years in Alabama.
Right.
So I'm going to talk about college football no matter what.
Right.
And it was so much resistance. It took like 6 months, but after a while, people started to come around. But the point of it was, we got so many hecklers. So they would call in, like some guy Spanky, right, from Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Schwartzman, get the hell out of here, go back. All right, Spanky. He would yell on him, be like, don't call again. But we had no way to prevent him from calling again.
Right.
So the next caller was, all right, you're on the Dan Schwartzman show, who's this? And it's me and Dan, and I'm just like, I don't know. And he's like, all right, and we take it, and it's the same guy. I told you that you're an idiot, Schwartzman, get back to, Alabama. And we would just keep taking calls because we didn't know if the next call.
It could have been a legitimate call.
Exactly,
Well,
right.
the early WPEN, we used to have this
hostage.
idiot that used to call nonstop, and there was no caller ID at the time.
Right.
Who was
So
Is this back when it was like Tony?
this
and
is 2006, 2007, when they were still on the third
Foley
floor.
in the morning.
Yeah. And
Yes.
this kid, we ended up figuring out who it was. He went to one of the Philadelphia blind schools because he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop calling, and he would call me, Kid Chris. It was during the Kid Chris era, to where he was like thinks he's gonna get on the Kid Chris show or whatever, and it was just like, would you stop calling? He wouldn't stop.
Is that a poor man's Baba Booey, right?
Yes. It's like Baba Booey. Kid Chris.
Oh my
And he would
goodness.
try to call in and be like, oh, I want to talk about the Eagles, and I'd be like, I recognize your voice, you jackass. You're not getting past me.
No, but to have a screener, I mean, think about that. And to not have you could not do your show with Ike and not have a screener. First off, there'd be FCC violation. Well, you could at least dump. But I'm saying,
You could.
No.
You could.
It would be really
my producer
difficult.
right now barely screens phone calls. What does it even matter? You know what I mean?
Well, he's hosting now.
They don't
too,
really
you guys.
screen the call anyway. It's like, hey, what's your name? What do you want to talk about?
Right.
And
I
basically,
could
they're putting them
answer
back
live
on
on the
hold.
air.
But it
That's
comes
not really
down to,
screening a call.
True.
Like, the whole idea is really screening the call, like what Baba Booey did.
Right.
They really vet. They talk
Yeah.
to the guy and really make
Tell
sure
him what to say.
he's gonna add something to the program.
But the problem, though, is that, yes, you get around that issue, but you don't get around the repeat heckler. Like, how are you going to keep somebody off in my situation? How are you going to keep
And they know
Spanky from
it.
AC
And
off?
they know
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
He's going to terrorize you guys. You're going to sit
Right.
there, like, you'll have fun with it for a couple of hours.
It gets old.
Yeah.
A couple of days, man. You, probably a couple of months.
No.
And the other thing is, they always know when the slow day is, because that's the day that they're
Right.
calling every 2 seconds.
Yes.
Like
Nonstop.
they're listening to the show. They're like, yeah, they're a little slow on the phones today. I'm going to really heckle the
A
crap
day
out
like
of them.
today, after
Yeah.
the Eagles have a playoff
That's
win,
not
it's going
the
to be
day.
tougher for
Yeah.
him to get
That's
in.
not the day.
Very
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
Now you need a screener at this point, just to line things up. All right, so let's talk about the game real quick.
Yeah, good segue there.
Nice, right? Well,
Yeah.
John did it.
Oh, yeah. He's trying to move the
He's
conversation.
the radio
He's a
host.
professional.
Right, not
Right.
us. Look what we're doing.
He's employed.
Exactly
Right.
right.
That is true.
There is a huge difference.
Out of us three, there's one here that's employed.
Exactly.
And that's the guy that just gave the brilliant segue.
Listen, I chipped my tooth 2 weeks ago. I can't afford to get it fixed. This is how bad things are right now, all right? So when you look at the game, I don't know where you want to start, but I am still amazed that, I don't know when we're recording this, 12:45 on a Monday, that there are still people locally and nationally that don't realize that Trayvon Hester blocked that kick.
Yeah, he got a finger on it.
And again, it's
Yeah.
not a block in the sense of a
No, but
it's
it was a slight
deflection,
deflection.
which is a
But
block.
that's
Yeah.
all it took.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly right. That's all it took. And listen, I'm all about piling on with Cody Parkey. That's great, but I also want to make sure that people recognize that was such a low odds play
Yeah.
and a hell of a movement.
I think he was on the field for like 12 snaps.
27% of the snaps of special teams.
Okay.
I think, and it was like 12 or 13 snaps.
Yeah. And he made
Have you
the
ever
play.
blocked a kick before?
I have.
You have?
It was a playoff game back in '95. Ray Rhodes was the coach.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, it could have been any level. You could have
I
gone.
would have to play foot. Yeah, in my backyard.
I don't think
in
you
1984.
kick in midget football. You know, I played midget football.
high
We didn't
school
kick.
Extra
or-
point.
Yeah, maybe it's
Harry was
intramurals.
the place kicker.
Yeah.
Flag football, don't you kick every now and again in flag?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Drop kick.
Yeah.
Not the drop kick Murphys.
Oh, there it is.
So, you were saying?
I wasn't at all.
About the game, about Trayvon Hester.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. Could that have been the difference between the ball going here and there? Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing.
People think that the kick, or actually the deflection of the kick, I don't know why I can't stop laughing, but the drop kick Murphys, about the deflection of the kick actually might have propelled it back in. Like if you look at where he was kicking the ball first.
So he would have missed the upright,
he would have missed
in
it
other
wide
words.
left.
Yeah.
But Trayvon, yes.
Oh, okay.
If you look at his fingers, Spike,
we need the sports science guy from ESPN to do a whole recalibration, reenactment,
see how that works?
And recalibrate the kick to see if that actually.
Yeah,
they're sports science guys. Or did they cut him with all the other people that
Probably.
they cut?
Yeah, well, his casualty.
It sounds like this is a Pruder film. You just need to kind of have the trajectory,
right?
Back into the left, back into the left.
Didn't you see it? There's all last night. Spike was the first person I saw that put it up there. I don't know who.
Well,
actually
NBC
was the
didn't even
first
know
one.
it was deflected.
NBC didn't know.
They didn't tell you.
No.
NBC didn't know that, about the. Everyone's making such a big deal about the penalty or the strip that
Miller's fumble.
Right,
Yeah.
that LeBlanc had.
Right.
Meanwhile, it comes out, it's like, no, that's actually a rule that's in the rule book.
Absolutely.
That idiot on the broadcast that's paid to be that guy didn't even know.
He was a guy, Macaulay, that refereed 3 Super Bowls, and he didn't know the rule.
Yeah.
So that makes you wonder, like, does Tony Corrente even know the
didn't.
rule?
Tony
he's
Corrente.
like, he goes,
didn't.
the ball will go back. That's what his call was.
He had no
He
idea
was
what he was
clueless.
That guy's voice cracked more than a 13-year-old hitting puberty. Did
Yeah,
you
it
hear
did. It did.
He sounded clueless. He looked like he had no idea what. He looked like he was being fed lines.
I know.
From somebody
In his
in
ear.
New York.
Yeah, Al Riveron.
Yeah.
But actually
The head-
telling
the
him
head
what to
ref
say,
guy.
and not just what to the call, John, but actually what to say verbatim.
When he started screwing it up, all of a sudden he was
Right. Yeah, you get to go back and be like, hold on a second, the earpiece is falling out a little bit.
But here's the thing, like, you gotta, if you're a player, and I know they play to the whistle, and they heard the whistle, and they're seeing the official go incomplete. So Corey Graham wanted to be an official rather than a football player. He was just doing all this nonsense on the field rather than going to get the goddamn ball.
Right.
Pick up the fucking football anytime there's a fumble, and you might have a clear recovery. Just go get it.
Anytime you see the guy that picks it up and starts running, you're like, stop, it's not a fumble.
Like the guy
No,
with the
they should
Ravens
pick it up.
yesterday.
Yeah.
They had the fumble in the end zone, and he picked it up. He ran 100 yards for what could have been a touchdown.
Right.
You don't know.
Pick it up.
Pick the fucking ball up.
You
Pick
have
it
to
up.
at this point. Although he was prevented at one point because the ref has to go over and pick it up too.
Right.
Now there was time. You're
There
right.
was time.
There was time, but
Yeah.
it was prematurely picked up.
Yes.
That was a premature pickup.
Yeah.
By the official.
Correct. Oh yeah,
Correct.
by the
Yeah.
yes. And that's what drives you mad. But you're right. I don't know. It was strange to me because I felt like the broadcast was spending so much time on that. And every now and again you go back and forth, right? Twitter to the broadcast, Twitter broadcast. And they sync up a lot. Something happens, somebody says something. But the broadcast kept focusing on that play, and I felt like everybody else had moved on.
And they kept going
It was
back.
inconsequential.
Yeah.
They scored anyway on that drive.
Exactly. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
It's not like that was the game. They didn't get in after that.
Right.
But it's actually one of the few times where the rule actually makes sense to where the Bears shouldn't be rewarded
Right.
No.
for the refs calling it incomplete and nobody going up and having a clear recovery.
Right. They
It
shouldn't have
actually
gotten the
makes
ball
sense.
at the 6-yard line or whatever it was.
It should
Right.
be incomplete.
Which is what your boy in the booth wanted,
Yes.
McVay.
Macaulay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Him
said that because you saw the Eagles moving backwards, remember?
Yeah.
And Al said, the Eagles know what the result of the penalty is or the result of the play. They're walking back to where the ball was fumbled as if they were going to play defense from that position, and then it ends up being totally different.
The game had a little bit of everything.
It really did.
Let me ask you this question. What's something that you would want to talk about that game? And this is the reality of it. We're doing something different than you do in your day-to-day that
Oh, absolutely.
I would do down at 97.3 with Harry on the weekend.
If I came out and my lead was Trayvon Hester,
You'd be in trouble.
yeah, I'd be off the air by 2:30.
Exactly right.
Right.
And probably in that case, rightfully so, right?
Yeah, no,
Like, it'd be-
I won't be. Oh, I actually may mention Trayvon.
Depending on how you sell it,
Right,
though.
right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not leading out in the way we did. So think about it. Is there something that popped from yesterday's game? Because it was such a crazy game. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm just holding on to my couch. And yeah, if we did it from a radio or TV standpoint, we're talking about the specifics of it, doing interactive stuff. But just bullshitting here, that game was something else.
That's
man.
the kind of game that we used to do post-game shows. Remember back in the day? That where you would. I was wishing I was doing a post-game show yesterday. Yeah. Immediately after the clock goes to 0, you go on and you just go
crazy. Yeah.
You could have gone for 5 hours.
Why aren't they on yet?
Yeah.
I
remember
still
he
hear
used to put us on
commercials.
early. Remember during the game, with like 3 minutes to go.
Matt, it's a tie game with 3 minutes
it
left.
Was great.
Get on there now.
I actually so our sister station, WIP sister station in Chicago, The Score.
Okay.
Is that 670 AM?
670. I went on. Actually, I went on pregame. I went on pregame. Check this out. With Hub Arkish and Dave Wanstadt.
Oh yeah.
And I coached him.
Yes.
Because he said, "Hey John, Coach Dave Wanstadt here," so I made sure I coached him after that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I tuned into them after to see what they were talking about. Because honestly, that's where, like you said, I was doing the same thing where I'm like, damn, I wish I was on right now, and I wish I was on in Chicago just to totally go crazy about that.
I know.
And they were going crazy.
Yeah, they were.
I get to do
on Cody. Was it all Cody?
Yeah, it was
all Cody.
Yeah. I get to do that
and
tonight.
Or Nagy.
So you go local, and that's something that I think you miss. Right? That's why you want that interaction. But now I get to blast people in Chicago because I'll do something nationally tonight. It'll be on during the game, so a lot of people national championship game. But my whole show will be about Chicago because I don't need to do it from a Philadelphia perspective because my shows are always about a Philadelphia perspective. So I'll give them, 20, 30 minutes of it. But 90 minutes of it will all be about me and the misery in Chicago.
But here, it's always about the quarterback, right?
Well, yeah, especially with the situation now. I mean, yesterday, all that did was bolster the whole argument that you might be considering trading your franchise quarterback.
Well, the report came out in the beginning, before the day even started, from ESP, that they were going to trade him in the offseason, which still makes sense.
Foles.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the other guy.
Oh, I thought
there's people that are actually now considering, seriously, maybe if Foles wins next week in New Orleans.
For me, that's when the conversation starts.
That's what I'm talking about. If he does.
I still don't think
what do you
can
do?
Have this conversation until you get to.
Well, I'm just saying we might have that conversation.
But with each
you have
win,
one more team to beat.
With each win,
4 games.
Yeah.
With each win, minds start changing and being like, well, you know what? Maybe we're not getting rid of the right guy. Maybe Wentz isn't the. Peter King wrote this morning in his.
He's insane.
The same guy who says that Antonio Brown is not a top 20 wide receiver. That Peter King
in his weekly
or
dribble.
Representative Peter King,
right?
Not representative of New York Peter King.
No, the guy that thinks Antonio Brown's not a top 20 receiver.
That guy. He wrote this morning that
the guy's got a podcast. Peter King, you know about that?
No.
Oh, Peter's got a podcast.
He does.
I'll tell you about it after.
Quit derailing him, will you? Please, he's our guest.
But he wrote this morning that speaking with somebody close to the situation in Philadelphia, I don't know what that means or who that is, but he said that there's talk about trying to get Nick to stay in Philadelphia as a, quote, part-time quarterback. Because he's not a backup quarterback. He's a part-time quarterback. If I have a franchise, I would never think that Nick Foles can play 16 games.
16 games, that's a hell. And then 4 more playoff games, 3 more playoff games.
But
you're right.
They haven't even paid Carson yet. How are they going to pay both of these guys?
They don't have to pay
part-time quarterbacks.
Nick goes, and they don't have to pay Carson. All that money can stay another year. They can renegotiate down the line.
I would have thought, and I was even saying this last week until later on in the week, that you need to get rid of Nick Foles, and you need Carson. It needs to be Carson's team. You can't have Nick there because everybody like me is going to be like, Carson can't finish, he can't do this, he can't do that, and Nick's always going to be there. But Carson can't stay healthy either. So if Nick has success this year, if there's not a job out there for him with a big salary, who knows what could happen? Maybe they do bring him back. They give him $15 million next year. Maybe they
15. Hold on a second. The problem that I have with that is I was good up until the money, and that's where I don't know how much it's going to cost.
How do you? That's a $15 million insurance policy,
but it's also $15 million that can be allocated to a lineman, running back, wide receiver, and that's what I think the selling point of not paying Carson Wentz this offseason is saying, hey, we're not going to spend the money we would spend on your contract and allocate that to people that can help you. So I'm with you. Nick Foles would have to take Bridgewater renegotiated to I think about 4.5.
4.5 to 5 is a good money for a quality
if Foles
backup.
were making $8 million, that's still high.
That's high. Well, Chase Daniel was making 7.5, wasn't he?
Yeah, because of Doug
joke.
Peterson's
I know,
mistake. But $8 million?
He's not taking $8 million, and I'd be surprised if Nick even wants to come back to create some quarterback controversy. It's all going to depend.
You think he goes to Arizona or somewhere else? Or well, they got Rosen.
No, nobody goes to Arizona.
Everybody's
not on their own.
Everybody's going to say Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It all else being equal, I don't like Jacksonville. If that's the starting job that you have, I brought up Oakland a couple times now.
Yeah.
They're obviously not high on Derek Carr. John Gruden likes a veteran quarterback. Nick's going to be 30. Rich Gannon went to Oakland.
Flacco's going to be available too.
He's going to be. I'll take Nick Foles over Flacco.
I would take
But
Nick
if you're
Foles
Oakland,
over Flacco.
why get somebody like that who's not going to make you a Super Bowl contender or even a playoff really contender in that division when you can get bad again and get a quarterback next year?
Well, I mean, they're bad. They're bad this year. I don't.
No, but I'm saying they'll probably be bad again next year
I don't
in that
think-
division.
Well, what does Mayock think of Foles? Because Mayock's the guy now.
Mayock and Gruden.
He's the guy.
Did you see this? This was the best thing that came from the Mayock thing. Was this article got repurposed from a year ago, last draft, where Mayock flipped out that the Colts had an orangutan announcing the draft.
I
You remember that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah he's lots of fun, Mike Mayock.
Right. So now there's all this talk. We were talking about this the other week about if anybody out there, like it wouldn't be Andy Reid because he just isn't that type of guy, right? And the Broncos, John Elway, I don't think they're good enough right now to troll. So maybe somebody in the Chargers organization would have an orangutan come out and announce like the 4th or 5th round draft pick in Chargers.
They could bring it up from
Mayock's head explode.
They could bring it up from the San Diego Zoo.
Exactly right.
Yeah, and Spanos. I bet Spanos probably has a
Yeah,
spare
you
orangutan
can
around.
relocate a orangutan for in a couple of hours,
Sure.
right?
You get one on the show, on this show.
Yeah, exactly.
Just have him sit. Have him sit where I sit.
Next week, that's our guest.
There you go.
Some may say you're sitting next to him now, you know, depending on who you are. All right, let me ask you a couple of hypotheticals. Let me start. Before, I'll forget the second one, so let me just get this one out. If Nick Foles does lead this team back to the Super Bowl, give me the storyline that you want to see ending. So mine is simple. The only thing that could trump last year would be if the Eagles came back and beat the Patriots and actually did force Tom Brady into retirement. That would be now again, you go Andy Reid, you go Chargers, you can go anywhere you want. But for me, I would want to see Nick Foles beat Tom Brady again and send his ass into retirement.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's you can unless you break his neck. I don't know if he's going to necessarily retire because he loses. That's not the end.
Well,
no, to me,
no, but I'm saying the team is a mess. They really worked around a lot of issues, down numbers this year. Brady
will never go back to being the Brady that we
exactly.
saw
So
previously.
Yeah, but the storyline would be if they met Andy Reid. I mean, that's the ultimate
that may be your storyline.
Yeah,
but
for me, that's it.
If the Eagles were to beat the Patriots back to, we're talking about a team that has never and of all teams, like there's nothing you could say. Oh, they got lucky and beat Rex Grossman. There's none of that argument.
Well, the Giants beat him twice in his prime.
Not back to back.
No, not back to back.
But the Patriots are still good enough to beat. We're assuming the Patriots are still good enough to beat other teams in the playoffs, like whoever.
But the Giants
it is.
beat the 18-0 Patriots.
Okay,
you know
that's fair.
You know, but you're right, not back to back.
Not back to back.
Right.
That's where it's
and it
bigger.
hasn't been done back to back since the Patriots,
right?
When they beat the Eagles and the Panthers.
And maybe it's not Brady retiring as far as Nick Foles hurt my feelings, John, so much as it's the issues, internal issues. Brady knows that this is the beginning of the end. Like we all assume Brady's going to be Allen Iverson, right? Just play until his back breaks. But maybe he looks at this and thinks, you know what? I'm going to get out. I'm going to get out where it still looks somewhat good because he's all about the public perception anyway, the Uggs and all the other shit he wears.
I actually think Rivers and the Chargers are going to go in there and take him out this coming week.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I mean, this is their weakest team that I can remember in a long time.
And this Chargers team's good.
The Chargers team is good.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
It's been 6 years since somebody beat them in home in the playoffs. That's a long time.
Back in 2007, Rivers went in there with a torn ACL and held their own against them. LaDainian Tomlinson couldn't play.
Yeah, but that's a long time ago.
No, a long time ago.
But 6 years recently since somebody's beaten the Patriots at home. All right, that was the hypothetical. Do you have anything that you would like to see as far as like outside of Andy Reid? You just want to see Andy Reid's face get punched in by a football?
Think how fascinating that would be.
It would be amazing. Honestly,
Andy Reid, I don't think could handle that. Losing to a team that didn't need this Super Bowl. It's one thing to be like, hey, you know what? Philadelphia needed that Super Bowl. Okay, I concede.
Yeah. Chiefs haven't had one since Super Bowl IV.
But we don't need another Super Bowl. I'll
Yes, we
gladly
do.
take one. I'll gladly take one, as gluttonous as we are. But John, we don't need another Super Bowl. That would make Andy Reid feel worse.
I mean, well, of course it would. I don't know if Andy Reid gets past this week.
I don't think he does either.
I know.
Yeah, the line
Colts
opened
are
up
playing really well.
The line opened up at five points, and it was just like, really, 5 points? You know, that's light.
Yeah.
They're gonna have their hands full. As great as Pat Mahomes has been this year, we don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs. We don't know what's going to happen. We know what Andy Reid can look like in the playoffs.
We don't. I mean, you look at the Bears game yesterday. The Bears have an issue because their quarterback is not nearly their best player. Their two best players were totally neutralized yesterday. Jason Peters took out Khalil Mack.
Yep.
Khalil Mack it wasn't like he was not even on the field.
Like they did
and
Aaron
Tariq
Donald
Cohen
and
was
J.J.
totally
Watt.
neutralized by Jim Schwartz's nickel defense.
Yep.
Took him away. He accounted for 27 yards of offense, I think, and they were all one of them was almost on one.
Right.
I
think he had
down the seam.
as much offense or as much yardage on that return as he did combined yards from scrimmage, right?
Mm-hmm.
That big return that he had in the fourth quarter. That eventually,
I thought that at the end of the game, it set up the field goal.
That's
That had Darren Sproles Saints-Eagles
It did.
written all over
Yeah.
it. It was the same thing. You're out close to midfield, and it's like, oh, Jesus, you only need 30 yards to get in the field goal range.
the conversation I know goes back and forth a lot when you're in the middle of it, but my goodness, the job that Jim Schwartz has done this year, better than last year?
With the cornerbacks that he's got.
Better than last year.
Avonte Maddox is a player.
Now he's got guys that can play.
Yeah,
They were
Rasul
a top
Douglas is a
four
player
play.
too.
He can play.
They were a top 4 defense all year last year. For the most part, they'd fluctuate, maybe even go like to top 2, depending on the week.
Yeah.
They've been in the double digits, like 18, 19.
Yeah, Schwartz was driving me nuts yesterday with rushing 4.
But he never does that, though.
There was a point in the
Or
game
blitz, I'm saying.
where I felt like the momentum was on the Eagles' side after they scored, and Trubisky was kind of not hobbling around, but you could tell he wasn't 100%, and he wasn't able to do anything with his legs yesterday. And I was like, this is the time to
Now
really
go after him.
To go after him, and he was still rushing 4, and he gave him a chance to go down and with yards. I'm not a big Jim Schwartz fan, but you can't argue with what he's done.
No, I think the Bears only made one play down the field to Robinson, right? He made big catch
On the
and
double-
spun the ball, right?
Yeah,
And I think
it was a
third
double
quarter.
If nothing else, you see the difference between a professional defensive coordinator from what Chip Kelly had here with Billy
Oh, my
Davis.
God.
That
it's
was
night
a
and day.
joke, and then you bring in Jim Schwartz. You're like, all right,
Yeah,
well,
where is Billy Davis
Well,
today?
here's the thing about
Is
Jim
he
Schwartz.
working?
I don't know if he is.
We could ask. We could find out,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Billy Davis has got to be doing something. Are you going to look
Billy
it up?
Davis.
Go for it.
Maybe he's on the UCLA staff.
I assume.
I think he was a linebacker. Honestly, I think he was a linebacker coach at Ohio State last time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's probably around. Yeah, especially because there's an opening at Ohio State from coordinator up to coach.
Linebackers coach at Ohio State.
Oh,
wow. Nice pull.
How about that?
Nice pull. Yeah, Schwartz always, I feel like he's prepared. And isn't that the one thing that, or one of the things that frustrate us the most is we're prepared. We sit there all week, we talk about it. I don't even mean from a work standpoint. I just mean from a fan standpoint. Like that's one of the, I've known this living in almost 20 years in this city, that the preparation element is huge because we spend so much time invested in it. It's like, dude, what the hell were you doing for 5 days? You had 6 days to prepare for this team, and you came out and you look clueless. Now, the offense has looked like that a lot, but we've seen so many low-scoring first halves again in which Schwartz and the defense, the guys on the field too, bailed them out. That's what I love about this, is that he comes in and these guys are prepared in the first half, and I'm not sitting around looking like,
Well, they were yesterday.
why did you waste my week?
No, because the Bears were a team that always gets out the leads. They're good
15
in the first
scripted.
quarter. They're good in the first half. And they had 6 points, and 3 of them came at the last play of the first half. So they did a great job yesterday.
You feel good? Feel good right now?
I feel great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bonus. It's gravy.
No, I don't
The
want to
line
say
opened up 10 and quickly went down to 8.
it's not bonus or
10.
gravy.
Think about that.
But I disagree with that statement. This is never bonus or gravy, because if the Eagles lose 41-3, or if they lose 28-27,
That's not
in New
going to.
Orleans,
They're not going to lose 40.
But my point of it is
Agreed.
that either one, I agree they're not. The Saints' offense hasn't looked anywhere clear near
Since
what they
that
were.
game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's still going to be ramifications from this loss, and I don't mean like the hey, hit us up. I just mean the
Well, I mean, what are you going to say?
people are going to be pissed off regardless.
I'm sure
Wentz,
people are gonna be pissed.
They'll get over it quicker.
Yeah, but honestly, if they go down to New Orleans and they lose, let's say a 3-point game, even if they blow it in the end, what can you really be pissed about? It's a Super Bowl winning team.
Right.
Sure, you can bitch about Doug. Sure, you can bitch about individual players or coaches. But once you calm down from that, no one expected. I mean, how many weeks ago were we talking about? I was already. My rebuilding plan was already happening, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about the draft.
Yeah.
Okay, but you didn't start the season that way. You changed in the middle of the season because the team showed you a different side of them. They're bringing back to what we all thought at the beginning of the year, which is...
And what changed?
What changed is the team is playing different.
What changed is the quarterback. Is what changed.
If you want to go there,
Well, that's the only place to go.
I'll make this. I think it was I think it was in the Rams game. We can identify the play of it, but there was a huge sack by Trayvon Hester in that Rams game, and it was one of the first things I said the next day, which was the trickle-down effect from Nick Foles is now on backup defensive tackles. And look at what's happened. I'm not going to say that there's anything above, beyond cosmic working.
Foles magic,
but
man.
for the 2 straight weeks that Nick Foles has had and the Eagles have had to do something, things outside of their control.
Yeah, like Cody Parkey
and the Vikings
Hester's
before that.
finger. Yeah.
Like, I don't know who they were praying to down at the NovaCare to Kirk Cousins, but
something. No, it's something. It is. It's something. I mean, it's guys are for all the excuses that are made. It's like, oh, well, the offensive line's blocking better. Well, Nick Foles is also getting rid of the ball.
He gets rid of the ball.
He's not holding on to the ball.
Right.
Oh, well, guys are doing Doug's coaching better. Not necessarily yesterday, but is he really calling plays better, or is the execution there?
Yeah. That's the one big thing that's glaring to me is that Wentz would hold on to the ball just to try to, maybe allow a receiver to get fully open or whatever it is, or until the guy he really wants to throw to is open.
He's not throwing the spots. He's throwing open receivers.
Right, and Foles he's like a point guard. He just gets it out of his hands, man.
You could tell even yesterday that Foles had almost a flick motion because he was trying to get the ball out so fast with guys coming at him.
He was off yesterday, too.
The first half was not good.
How about the lollipop he threw up right before he got hit to Alshon Jeffrey? Jeffrey was wide open and caught it, but had there been a defender anywhere near there, that could have been picked.
Well,
he threw that awful pick in the end zone.
He got Golden Tate killed with another lollipop he threw on there, and meanwhile, Tate, luckily...
How about that? He's pretty tough.
How about Tate as far as the trade?
Who? Amos Jr. was the guy that clipped him.
Yep.
Tate, and he's the guy who picked off Foles like 2 plays later.
Not Willie Amos, right?
No,
not Amos and Andy.
I was leaving that one for you. I didn't know if you were going to go Willie Amos or not, so I figured I'd take that one.
Hey,
you know Willie Amos, right?
No.
Oh no, that's Ames.
No,
isn't it Willie Ames? Who's the guy from Charles in Charge? That
I have no idea.
Doofus-looking idiot from
I never
Charles
watched
in
the
Charge.
friend.
Yeah, this friend. Isn't
Isn't
it Willie Ames?
I never really watched that show.
That's all right. Nicole Eggert is the reason why you watched that show.
I know the show and the cast, but I
never saw it.
Really?
No.
Speaking of shows, The Office right now. Do you realize that The Office is being watched by like 12 to 14 to like 16 to 20-year-old people? Like,
that's a pretty big range, 12 to 14.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
So you're saying it's catching a young demo now, like
Comedy Central and Netflix.
Junior high school demo.
People are just watching it on repeat.
Is that right?
Yes. You just watch people on social media. If you know anyone who are teachers teaching in like middle school or high school, it's just nonstop.
All the youths are watching it.
Isn't that ridiculous?
It's great knowledge, Harry. I didn't know.
Incredible. I never thought about it.
Well, it would make you think though that people who are watching this show so much would be more open to being less, I guess, PC and whatnot, because the show is just completely off the rails.
Well, see, I don't think it's the kids that are PC. It's the adults.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah,
I think that's what's happening.
The kids have been programmed
right.
to be PC
It's not
yet.
the college students. It's the college professors and the administrators that have all gone PC crazy.
I didn't listen to anybody in college. Did you?
What do you mean listen?
Like professors. I just tried to get out of there as
Well, I
fast
mean,
as I could.
I listened for the class, but it's not like I was going to them for extra
I failed
knowledge.
So second semester freshman year, I had to take Spanish, right? And I was like, well, I was really good. I knew a lot. Just New York, Connecticut, we talked a lot. Northeast, I feel like you talk a lot anyway, just knowing the language. So I was like, I need to show up, right?
Wait, what, am I saying that you speaking Spanish on the streets?
No, not
I was
on the
hoping
streets.
you knew what he was talking about.
But it's a more common language in what you learn, and like less kids in the Northeast in high school are taking French.
Right.
Sure, you take Spanish.
Exactly.
French are waste.
Right, exactly my point. Right, but when you're out in Iowa or you're out in like Oklahoma, then they encourage like, oh, take German or take Latin. But here
How
we're
do
told
you know
like,
this?
Yeah, how do you know that?
are you serious?
I don't know. How do you know what
No,
goes
I'm saying,
on
how do you know in Iowa that
in
they're
Iowa?
telling kids to take German?
I've never even been to Iowa.
You're making it up.
Before I was in radio, I was a traveling marketing person, and
You
I
couldn't
worked
find Iowa with a map.
Des Moines. I used to go back and
Is that
forth
right?
to Des Moines. Yeah, you wouldn't know Des Moines. So my point of it is that
That's the French,
Yeah,
Des
yeah,
Moines,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It sounds
Des
French.
Moines, right? That's all I was saying. Is that I failed this class because I didn't show up.
Okay.
And
That's a good reason.
Right. Well, no, but I aced all my tests, but I didn't show up to class.
So you got an F anyway.
Exactly, because of class participation. And they told me, they're like, you're never going to get a job because you have to show up every day, and nobody's going to hire you because you need to show up.
And you're the hardest working guy that I know.
Right.
Like you have like 16 jobs.
But I couldn't tell them that in college because at the time I didn't show up to anything. I didn't listen to anybody.
Right, I'm the one that's kind of like, do I really want to go there?
Right.
Do I want to do
I
that?
have to drag him out.
Yeah, Harry and I don't want to work at all.
No.
I'm
to be
really
honest.
good at not working.
Well, I'm glad.
I'm really good at it.
If you need a fill-in, either one of what you're doing, let me know.
All right.
Right? I'm just saying, that's all. So you look at this week, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that, before we look at New Orleans, that you would like to add to this conversation outside of the world of sports that I have not? Because I've been derailing this whole time. And,
You have.
And he hasn't.
No, but I think
He's
the
just
other
being nice because you're here.
the other playoff games are really, I'm really looking forward to it. Like this past weekend, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times I'll come away a little bit like wanting more from the playoffs. No, this weekend was awesome. Next week, Dallas going to LA is a fascinating game to me.
Dallas, when I look at Dallas, they scare me.
Yeah, they do.
They scare me because that quarterback, for all the crap that people gave Dak Prescott, no, he's
Here we
not.
go.
Here we go. Let's answer
Should we
this.
do it?
Who is it?
Yeah, let's see. It says
Telemarketer.
All right.
Is it a real person, you think?
Hello?
Yeah. You're on Derailed.
Hello?
Come on.
A lot of times they...
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, sir. The side is Henry, and I'm offering you 110 pools of Viagra or Cialis, and just $100.
Yep.
And there's no shipping. Yeah.
Hold on. We have to tell you legally, for the purposes of this conversation, that you're being recorded for training purposes.
I'll take 300 pills. How much?
I'm training him to talk on the phone, okay? So I'm here.
300 pills, right?
Yeah, but you're being recorded for training purposes.
You want 300 pills, right, sir?
Yep,
She's not even
300.
listening.
So I'm giving you 300 pills, and just 100.
Wait a second. Wait, I'm taking notes. I'm training this man, and you're moving too fast, okay? He did not ask you the right question. Hello? Yes, he did not ask you the right question. Now we need to start over.
Did you want for 300 pills, just
Sir?
$250, only $250.
Sir?
I think it's
Yeah.
Sir?
How did he take over this?
I'm not sure.
We're training this man, and you're not making this any easier.
Okay.
We have to make sure that he knows how to handle people on the telephone, sir.
Okay. Do you want, sir? Now do you want?
All right, so 300 pills plus, can I get a number 2 supersize with a Coke?
Sir? Sir?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah.
You're not listening. You're not listening. We're trying to train this man, sir. We'll take 500.
Normally they hang up by now if you start messing around with them.
Yeah, I think we exhausted it.
Wow. I mean, could that on
did
cue?
I tell
On
you?
cue.
Did I tell you?
Yes.
You
It's
were right.
amazing.
So
These guys call all the time.
how often do you get that phone call
I
from
don't ever
Viagra?
answer it.
No, but I'm saying, like, how often do you get it?
You might not get it anymore now.
Oh, no, they'll call more now.
Could
Yeah,
he have
yeah,
been more annoying?
No.
Sir? Sir? I wanted to punch him.
I would, no, but I get spam calls all day. I would probably say a couple times a day.
Wait, when you say you get spam calls all day, are they beyond just Viagra?
Yeah.
What did you sign?
I get-
What website were you on
No,
that
but
you put your phone number on?
They sell your numbers. Look.
Who's? Oh my! Put that up to the camera.
Oh
Look
my
at all those
God.
AT&T to AT&T, and why are they AT&T?
You
why
need
are
to
they
get that
listening?
app, that thing that
It's the app. Yeah, it just tells you what you already don't know, right?
Do you watch Black Mirror?
I don't know what that means.
Any excuse to bring up Black Mirror.
Well, there's something that's always relevant to our technology. In this case, it would be Marks making a mistake.
I don't.
But if he's seen the show, he would know better.
I don't know why they call me. I just don't answer them ever. Even if it's I just don't answer numbers unless I know the number. You know what I mean? So what are you gonna do? No, they call me all the time. What are you gonna do? Just don't answer.
I don't understand how you get all these phone calls.
I don't either.
But you must have done something. You must have signed up for something. Or
no, I'll get.
How long have you had that phone number? Let's start there.
A couple years.
Yeah. And how long have these calls
the same
been?
number forever?
In the last year or two, they started getting progressively worse and worse. I'll get one time.
You don't change your number?
Yeah, I'm not trying to hide from people. I know you have got all these different phone numbers.
Today I was trying to text them, and I had 3 different numbers from Eytan.
Yeah.
Burner 1, Burner 2, current number, Metro PCS number.
Just one.
Go Boost Mobile number.
Well, you have to know how to go. It's like you're riding a wave. You know, you go from wave to wave.
I don't know.
You go from carrier to carrier. You take advantage of all these offers.
So anyway, the one time they were trying to sell me on a cruise or something, and I was pretending to be a slow adult, and the woman continued to take my information and it was clear that I didn't know what I was doing, and she kept trying to get me to give information.
Wow.
And then I finally hung up.
That's pretty funny.
Because I used to mess with them, but then I think what that day was screw me to where then they started calling me all the time. So you're gonna mess around with me, then
I like the ones that go, hello, Dave. Is Dave there?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, you got the wrong number. And they're like, oh, perhaps you can help me. Like that's their technique.
Right.
You know?
No, Dave's not here, man. Wait a second.
Yo, Dave, you got arrested, man. Sound like Cheech and Chong.
That's what it came from. Dave's not here, man.
Yeah.
That's a famous line, right? From a stand-up. Yeah.
no, Dave's not here, man.
That's the back and forth. It was on The Simpsons.
Hey, Dave, man. Where's Dave? Oh, you got arrested, man.
That's pretty good, man. That's a pretty good back and forth. You could do your own Cheech and Chong right there.
I could.
You could do your own Cheech and Chong impersonation.
I used to listen to. That's when you used to have comedy albums.
Right.
Seriously.
Oh.
I had albums of like George Carlin, Cheech and Chong on records, and you put them on and listen to
Eddie Murphy had.
Right.
I mean, they were albums early
Raw,
on.
Delirious. Crazy. You had all the Jerky Boys, right?
I never got into
Jerky Boys was good, but Bill Cosby had. Bill
Richard
Cosby
Pryor,
had albums.
of course, was incredible, man.
Speaking of telemarketers, do you know the comedian? I think it's with a J, or I think it's like first name, last name is the same, but his whole bit is he'll sit there and record calls with telemarketers, but they're hilarious. So somebody will call up and be like, Jim, I think it's Jim something. And it's like, hey, Jim, oh, hold on, let me put my brother on. And then she'll say, okay, and then it's him again in a different voice. And then he'll constantly, every time she says something, hold on, let me put my brother on. Okay, but hold on, let me put my brother on. And keep going back to different voices. And this woman is on the phone for 2 minutes. 2.5. Now, some of them are like 8 minutes that he's got these people on.
Going back and forth.
Yeah. And some of them, are, of course, are follow-ups. Oh, yeah, I'll give you my number and everything. Hi, I'm calling as far as a follow-up on this. It's hilarious. And his whole thing is just messing with telemarketers.
I can see why he doesn't get regular sleep.
Yeah,
it's just a constant
He's a maniac.
content.
I need it. I crave it.
Black Mirror.
All right. Let's look at this game because we have a week now. Next time any one of us talk, at least on camera, it'll be following New Orleans.
Yeah.
Eagles go to New Orleans. Nick Foles, take it away.
Oh, they can win this game. There's no doubt. I don't care what the line is.
Will they? Can they is different. Will they?
I think it ends here. I do. And I hate to be Debbie Downer, but I
think they win.
I don't think they do.
I think they win, and here's why. If they would have had a more competitive game down in New Orleans before, if they would have even won the meeting this year, I think it's different. When you kick a team's ass as bad as the Saints kicked the Eagles' ass, you think that it's going to, even if you say you don't think it's going to be easy or it's going to be different, it's natural and it's almost impossible not to think that it's going to be physically. They don't think it's going to be hard. And Kamara and Mark Ingram are down there talking crap already, even previous to
the ski mask,
playing the ski mask, and they're worried about the wrong stuff. And this secondary has figured itself out. The defense has figured itself out. It's going to come down to Nick Foles in the fourth quarter. I believe that. I said that to the Bears before the Bears game. Now, who would have thought Cody Parkey's going to hit an upright and hit the freaking crossbar?
Right.
But the Eagles can win the game.
Playoffs, you win it.
They can win the game.
Will they?
I just don't think they will. I think it's going to be close.
Do you want to give a score?
20, 27, 24, something like that. I think it's going to be close.
I can't wait to see it. I think they actually, I'm with John, I think they win, and I think it's a shootout. I think this is one of those things where the defense, it's not their fault.
So it's like the Super Bowl.
It's not their fault, but I think that you get, like a 28-31 type game.
Breeze throws for 400 plus and they still lose.
But it's a consistent
Brady had
thing.
Almost 500 yards passing, didn't he?
But it's a consistent body of work.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an offense that will move, but I think both teams get that. I don't think that you see a typical, okay, we need 3 quarters to get going type game. I think they realize
early and often. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
No, I agree. And playing, obviously, speed's going to favor New Orleans being down there because they have a faster team. But listen, put Nick Foles in an environment like that and just kind of let him go. It's a huge home field for the Saints. Anybody that's played in the NFL will tell you that playing down there it's legit. But listen, it was loud at Soldier Field yesterday. It was, and Nick looked his best in that final drive.
At Jon Marks
Media.
Jon. You changed your Twitter handle like I changed my phone number.
I changed it when I left
2 years ago. That's it.
Well, let him give it again without you talking over it.
Yeah, I left when I left the station. I changed it to where it was like, okay, I can use this no matter where I go. I didn't even do radio.
What is it again?
Jon Marks Media. JONMARKS Media.
At Harry Mays TU at Shander Show. We'll be back next week. Episode 11. You're going to be here.
That's right.
I don't know where we'll be, but we'll be here.